The actual rate of inflation is about 15%. Forget about the government's phony figure of 7.8% or whatever they say. The US government's figures are only marginally more reliable than those of the Argentine government. So don't trust them.
Hey guys, welcome back to Library of Wealth. Today we have Doug Casey giving us his take on the current market and the current state of uncertainty, as well as the role the Fed has played in recent weeks that's leading to the biggest inflationary environment in history. He'll talk about Bitcoin and why there was a huge change in his sentiment towards the dominant crypto asset. This definitely shows that Bitcoin's use case is starting to make itself known even to its staunchest critics, something that has been inconceivable in recent years. Let's check out this interview with Doug Casey, where he discusses his Bitcoin prediction and why he believes power is changing from the fiat money world to the Bitcoin world. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoy the content we do here on this channel. Let's get right into the video.
Interest rates, banks will give you what? 0, 1, 2%. So no, there's something seriously wrong. I mean, this is why the world's financial system is teetering on a knife's edge. The actual rate of inflation is about 15%. Forget about the government's phony figure of 7.8% or whatever they say. The US government's figures are only marginally more reliable than those of the Argentine government. So don't trust them. A real inflation, the dollar's losing value at around 15% per year. I think it's going to 20% and higher.
Doug, why, would you not think that the next currency, instead of gold, wouldn't it be some sort of digital currency?
There's no conflict between the two things. Gold can be represented in a digital way. In other words, gold held in deposit, and you trade hundredths of a gram of gold on your smartphone. So it can be very good. The important thing is that the currency that you use is backed by something. It's something real. And of course, this comes to the question of, well, what about Bitcoin? Is Bitcoin real? And as a money, Bitcoin suits most of the characteristics, or actually all of them are good. It's durable, it's divisible, it's convenient, it's consistent. And I always ask myself, well, what's the value proposition in Bitcoin? When I get holding the bag just with a digit on my smartphone, if I own Bitcoin, and then it occurred to me that 75% of the people in the world, if they save anything, they're going to be saving it with worthless currencies like dirhams and watches and pesos. So the value proposition with Bitcoin is that you don't have to, you have a transfer mechanism where if you're in Zambia, you can get your money out of Zambia anywhere you want instantaneously. But if you have Zambian watches, you're stuck, basically. So that's the value of Bitcoin. It's a transfer mechanism. Well, all I can tell you is that the experts know nothing, including myself. And a major reason for that is that basically all we know is what we hear from government-approved sources and the mass media, which are basically minions of the government. And even the things that I hear and read, and I subscribe to several international newspapers in Hong Kong and London, and of course here in the US and others, you've got to take it all with a grain of salt, because in war, it's been said correctly that truth is the first casualty. So don't believe anything.
So on that note, let's start with the latest developments here. I mentioned Saudi Arabia, and my main question to you is the US dollar in danger here?
Yes, well, it's been in increasing danger for decades, but now it's gotten to a critical level. Look, from the most basic point of view, the US government itself is bankrupt, terminally bankrupt. It can't dig itself out of the hole. In fact, it's digging the hole deeper. The official $31 trillion deficit is being added to at the rate of $1 trillion and a half a year. Everybody knows, certainly sophisticated people know, that the dollar is a hot potato. And the main thing that's holding the dollar up is the fact that its major commodities, oil, which is the world's largest traded commodity, are priced in dollars. But if the Saudis and other countries start accepting the yuan instead of the dollar, then what do people need dollars for? This 20 trillion, nobody knows for sure, but that's a good estimate, US dollars outside the US.
Right.
And if people don't need them to buy commodities, well, they don't need them for anything. And they're going to start unloading them. So yeah, this is a really dangerous situation. And it's not just the Saudis, it's the Nigerians, who are major African oil exporters, are doing the same thing with the Chinese. The Nigerians, the Saudis, don't buy anything from the US, but they buy lots of stuff from the Chinese. So it's perfectly logical.
So if the US dollar's, role and dominance as reserve currency is coming to an end, I mean, what replaces it?
Well, that is the $64 question. I think what's going to happen is that we're going to go back to gold. Look, even the Chinese and the Russians, who are closer now than ever, do most of their trading, I understand, with US dollars, which is crazy. They have to clear those dollars through New York, the homeland of their enemy. You don't use the enemy's currency, for God's sake, or the adversary's currency, if you wish. It's best that they use a neutral currency, one that can't be inflated out of existence, one that can't be closed down at the discretion of some half-crazy pals in Washington, D.C. I mean, Russia's had all of its dollar accounts confiscated or put on ice, as it were. So any country realizes it could happen to them. So the U.S. is shooting itself in the foot by trying to punish the Russians.
Casey goes on to say what he believes is going to replace the dollar as the world's reserve currency, and why, because of the infrastructure, China and Russia's current monetary system cannot. Doug Casey believes that a global crisis is right around the corner.
Listen, you really don't want government involved in currencies. I mean, gold takes governments out of currencies. You don't have to trust a government if you use gold. So yes, as strange as it sounds, I think the world is going to go back to gold because it's the only, I've said this so many times, but it's worth repeating. It's the only financial asset that's not simultaneously somebody else's liability. And all the world's governments, especially that of the US, are bankrupt. So who wants their liability?
Would there be enough gold to support such a system?
Yes, it just depends on the price of gold. How much gold is there in the world? Well, it's uncertain, but say about 6 billion ounces. And if we do some multiplication, divide the amount of ounces that the US Treasury owns, for instance, which is supposed to be 265 million. If we divide that into the number of dollars outside the US, we come up with a very high price. Divide 265 million into 20 trillion, divide it into the amount of the US debt, if the debt was going to be paid back with the US gold reserves, a huge high number again. You should be buying gold for savings and for insurance and for prudence. At these prices, I don't consider it a great speculation. It was a great speculation back in the year 2000 when it was selling for $250 an ounce, when incidentally, it was cheaper then than it was in 1971 in constant dollars. But now it's just kind of reasonably priced. So continue buying gold, but buy it for savings. And you don't really want savings in a bank because the dollars are being inflated out of existence. You might wind up bailing in the bank yourself, like happened in Cyprus. So yeah, your serious savings should actually be in gold.
Doug Casey says this is a make or break time for markets around the globe, as the crypto industry at large has too many working parts now to be stopped. Although he does have a slightly different opinion on government regulation, only time will tell. Casey isn't surprised by those who hold a favorable position with the US government, especially those that support the dollar as the world's reserve currency. He doesn't believe governments should be involved and says that Bitcoin's longevity is designed to survive without intervention from any governing body. What do you think about Doug Casey's interview? Comment down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. This is Library of Wealth. We'll see you in the next video.